Good day, I am Maereen Manalo and my topic is about identifying task candidates for outsourcing. So what is outsourcing? Outsourcing emerged in the 1950s, but it wasn't until the 1980s that it began to be perceived as an attractive business strategy. The growth of outsourcing in the 1980s was largely driven by the focus on core competency strategy that was developed in the 1970s. Since then, outsourcing has had significant and positive impact on businesses and in most cases helping them compete effectively. The growth and evolution of outsourcing have created new areas of possibilities which have allowed various organizations to redefine and restructure their operations. So outsourcing is now an important consideration in strategy formulation, and it can fundamentally change the way a business competes and the structure itself. The main driver for outsourcing is the need to compete effectively, and a business will usually outsource when it is more effective and efficient to source externally. There is a focus on core competency and it is seeking cost structure improvements. So outsourcing could involve part-time freelancers or contract workers who work for you full-time through a consultancy, agency, or external service provider. Outsourcing is often used by businesses of all sizes, as well as solo entrepreneurs, to handle more business and execute work that requires skills unavailable within the organization. So when deciding which process to outsource, you ask yourself 3 questions. Will it save me time? Will it cut costs? And can a freelancer do a better job? Businesses are always looking to improve their efficiency and save on cost. More and more, growing businesses are outsourcing their non-core functions as a cost-effective strategy. Outsourcing is a solution for a wide variety of tasks that a company doesn't want to handle itself. In determining whether a management function should be a responsibility of in-house staff or outsourced to an external organization, the agency should consider the following factors, any one of which might be key depending on the agency and its operational circumstances. Every situation is unique and has its own combination of resources, technology, organizational structure, budget constraints, and perhaps physical location. So here are the task candidates for outsourcing. First, availability and quality of contract services. The agency should determine, however, if the services are not available at all, or are simply not available temporarily because of current peak activity in the economy. The agency should also determine whether the management function is a one-time project assignment or a continuing function for which it would be worth the effort of an external organization to establish a new presence based on the likelihood of subsequent contracts. The marketplace normally responds to a long-term need if other factors show that outsourcing would be inappropriate. Second is the cost effectiveness. If either an external organization or in-house staff could feasibly manage the given function, cost effectiveness should be a major consideration. So cost effectiveness can be determined by a comparative cost analysis of agency costs and those of other federal agencies of private sector firms. Third one is the timeliness. It takes time to prepare and review contract specifications and proposals, analyze those proposals, interview proposers, and negotiate a contract with an external organization. In some cases, urgency may necessitate that the management function be assigned to in-house staff. If in-house staff has limited time, the agency should consider having in-house staff handle urgent projects and outsourcing the management of less time-sensitive projects. Next is the risk management. The objective of risk management is to minimize the probability or magnitude of undesired consequences without incurring excessive costs. The potential liability and risk management issues of any contrafaction should be examined closely. The external organization is an additional agent involved in an agency's overall performance and will not be as directly controlled as the agency's in-house staff, thus increasing potential liability exposure. The proper bundling of risk management features in a turnkey project, however, may reduce risk for an agency. So the risk management aspect of outsourcing should be included in any contract arrangement. So once you have made the decision to outsource, there are 10 issues you should consider when outsourcing an independent contractor. First is find the right professional. The first step to successfully outsourcing a project or a task is to find the right professional. Understand the skills, experience, and attitude needed to accomplish the task. Then match the needs required to complete the task with the potential candidate's skills. You can determine a candidate's skills by conducting an interview and evaluating the resume. So next is the location. It is a very important factor to consider when outsourcing. Think about whether you want to work with a local or more distant freelancer. Although freelancer costs could be lower in other countries, there are many benefits to selecting local professionals. Next is explore recruiting venues. There are many that you can find professionals for your project. You can list your job on online job board in the classifieds or enlist the services of a staffing agency. Newer alternatives include sites such as work hoppers that find you the right professionals on demand but offers the ease and cost effectiveness of a job board. Next is create your service contract. Once you have found the right person to work with, you must establish the terms of your business relationship. The contract should include provisions for all stages of work. Furthermore, the contract should clearly indicate the independent status and then exclusivity of the relationship. And then the length of the project. Discuss and agree upon the length of the project. If possible, it is important to set an exact deadline. Decide whether you will penalize the freelancer for delays and if you can end the contract if the terms are not met. Next is consider a cancellation clause. Even with the best of intentions, sometimes professional relationships just don't work out. Decide what happens if one or both sides would like to get out of the contract. Next, discuss how payments will be made. There are many options in regards to payment when it comes to your service provider. If you use a recruiter, they may require a full payment held in escrow. A recruiter will take a percentage of the project cost or commission, which can be quite costly. Next issue that you need to consider is clarify intellectual property. Both parties should agree on who will own and who will be able to use the work product at the end of the project. Be sure to have an intellectual property agreement in place. The agreement should also take into account anything that was improved or modified during the relationship. Be sure to also include agreements on confidentiality and non-disclosure for all parties involved. Next is discuss privacy and security measures. If your service provider will have access to sensitive information, consider the steps to ensure privacy. For example, if a provider will have access to your software or your customer information, consider the provisions that can ensure privacy. So last issue is create an action plan. Clearly defined responsibilities and end products are essential to completing a successful project. So it is important to have measurable goals and benchmarks. The earlier you do it in the process, the more likely you are to avoid miscommunication with your freelancer. So the last that we will tackle is about outsourcing decision matrix. Outsourcing decision matrix, it is used to identify which tasks or processes you should keep in-house and which you can safely outsource. The matrix is divided into quadrants. It is as follows. First, form a strategic alliance. So some tasks are strategically important but contribute little to operational performance, so could be outsourced safely to a trusted partner. A strategic alliance, the partners share control of the task and work together but remain independent. Next step is retain. Tasks in the quadrant are high in strategic importance and have a big impact on operational performance. Retain this task in-house so that you keep the maximum level of control. So the next step is outsource. Activities in this quadrant are important for successful operational performance but are not strategically important. This can be outsourced with little risk. Last decision matrix is eliminate. Some tasks are not important to your organization's overall strategy and don't make a significant contribution to its day-to-day operational performance. You could think about eliminating these activities completely. So that's all for my report. Thank you.